Why Bitcoin isn't going up after the halving. Okay, guys, so here we are with another video on Bitcoin. If you guys enjoy this content, please give this video a thumbs up. We're going to talk about why Bitcoin's price hasn't pumped. So a few of my clients, it's been about a little more than a week after the most recent fourth Bitcoin halving. And a few of my clients are kind of like, what happened? Why isn't the price going up? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are wondering this as well. So let's quickly talk about kind of Bitcoin's halving event, the supply shock, and how it plays itself out. So obviously, we talked about how the supply of Bitcoin released every day went from 900 to currently 450. So when Bitcoin's inflation rate continues to go down, which means that there are fewer coins issued every day. So, but this doesn't create a supply shock immediately, okay? So if we took a look at Bitcoin supply, take a look at the demand, let's say the demand remains constant, and then the supply, daily issued supply gets cut in half, that won't really cause the price to move overnight. So let's take a look at what happened last bull run. So last bull run, Bitcoin, was around $8,600, okay, on the day of the halving, and it pumped a tiny bit, okay. And the next month after the halving, which was so the last halving was in May. So the next month after the halving, Bitcoin was actually down 3%. So it really took until October, I would say, when Bitcoin's price started really soaring, and that's historically known as October. Okay, so in October 2020, Bitcoin was up 28%. It opened at around 10,700, closed at around 13K. So that's when Bitcoin started to take off. It was up 28% October 20th, October 2020. November 2020, it was up 42%. December 2020, it was up 47%. January 2021, it was up 14%. And February 2021, Bitcoin was up 36%. And then in even March 2021, Bitcoin's up 30%. So, things were kind of slow. Bitcoin was slowly inching up until October 2020. That's when it really started to soar. So will this happen again? Well, like I said, we're probably going to just slowly move up, probably more so until October based on, historical price movement. But the interesting thing is that I think these Asian Bitcoin ETFs, especially the Hong Kong ETF, could again accelerate things just like the US Bitcoin ETF did. So it's really important to be patient, okay? The important thing is you guys been stacking your coins, you guys been buying Bitcoin, whether you've done it for the first time this year or you've been doing it for years like me since 2029 or even earlier than that, you have to be patient, okay? The supply shock won't happen overnight. It hasn't even been 10 days since the most recent Bitcoin halving. So the first thing to do is to remain patient. The second thing to do is to understand that it takes time. It takes time for people to really get on board after each halving. Okay, the halving event came and happened. I didn't see a lot of, people talking about it on television or on the radio. There were a few YouTube channels covering it, but for the most part, it was pretty quiet. Okay, there's a lot of other things going on in the world that were kind of garnering people's attention. Obviously, the geopolitical, conflicts, an upcoming, November 2024 election in the United States. There's a lot of, sports teams playing in the playoffs, like the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. So there's a lot of different things going on that kind of, distracted people away from Bitcoin's halving. So that's another reason why I don't think this historically has just been a big pump, is because there's just simply so many things going on. But the important thing to realize is that, like I said, Bitcoin usually pumps slow and steady after the halving for like the first 3 to 6 months. But what ends up happening is that after those first 6 to 3 months, that's when the supply shock happens. It's just like when you're conceiving a child, right? In the first, month or two, growing, in your mother's womb, you're not very big, but as the time goes on, up until 9 months, the growth rate accelerates. And that's kind of what we're experiencing when it comes to after the Bitcoin halving. So the important thing to remember is you definitely don't want to get impatient, get FOMO'd out. You're going to see a lot of volatility back and forth, as people are, opening leverage positions, shorting, going long on Bitcoin. A lot of that is just shorts and longs getting liquidated, but nothing's really changed about the thesis of Bitcoin. Nothing's really changed other than there's been a supply shock, and that's simply going to play itself out, but it's going to take 3 to 6 months. So, like I said, most likely we're going to see a lot of liquidity come into Bitcoin in May 2024. That's just my guess based on the whole Asian Bitcoin ETFs. Once again, this could see us pump to as high as 80 or 90K. Now, I think that by the end of 2024, historically will probably be at least over 250K. If you guys saw my previous video, if Bitcoin really runs and there's a huge supply shock, we could hit as high as 700,000. And it's possible because there's just so much institutional money and that this wasn't there before. But this is a great time to accumulate. The Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs are launching on April 30th. So I still think that there's still a couple of days or so to really get into Bitcoin and also to get some of those Bitcoin backed assets like those crypto stocks like Marathon Digital, CleanSpark, Riot Blockchain, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and even Tesla. Any of these companies that have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, I really think that this is kind of a good opportunity to get into them simply because, like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. People really aren't sure exactly what's going on. And a lot of people, this is their first cycle. So, the halving happened and they're kind of thinking, like, what happened? Why isn't Bitcoin's price going up? Well, guys, like I said, it takes a few months. So, right now, we're about May, June, July, August, September. We're about 5 to 6 months away from October, which is expected to be a massive spike in the price. October is historically the best month, so you still have some time to stack. Just make sure you're stacking. This is the time where you want to be lean on your spending. You want to cut out all unnecessary expenses. And you're going to do whatever it takes to stack as much possible because whatever you want to buy, whether it's you want to buy physical stuff or depreciating assets, get into relationships, whatever, it's much more advantageous for you to get into these things as we get further into the cycle simply because you're just going to have more money to spend, right? So every sat that, or every Satoshi or every unit of Bitcoin that you're spending, whether it's a whole Bitcoin or a fractional small portion of it, that's probably most likely going to be worth a lot more in the future. So just understand that right now, a lot of things that you really want to buy can be delayed, and you can delay your gratification to purchase these things later on in 2024 when Bitcoin's price will be higher. You just have more capital to spend. So like I said, guys, that's kind of my take on what's going on, why we're not going up that much, but we're not crashing either, okay? We're basically staying flat. So flat is good. As long as we don't see any massive drawdowns in Bitcoin's price, everything should be good. And we're just basically playing the waiting game. So like I said, if you guys enjoyed this content, please subscribe to my channel as well. If you guys enjoy my content, you can send me a donation as well. My Bitcoin address and Ko-Fi fiat uh, address is in the description below. So until the next video, guys, see you.